Travis Townsend, and welcome to Bacon and Brainwork, a weekly show where I share my thoughts on what's going on in the world over breakfast in hopes to give the viewing audience a different perspective on current affairs involving business, sports, and even politics. Today's topic on Bacon and Brainwork is the strategy and tactics used to affect social change and bring about social justice. And specifically, the question of whether certain tactics and strategies that are most often deployed in today's environment are effective, and do we have enough conversation about alternatives and questioning how we go about making changes. So whether your cause is the advancement of women's equality, civil rights and social justice for minorities, fair treatment for LGBT, eliminating the constant disrespect and lack of appreciation for veterans, how you go about that with respect to the groups you might affiliate or associate with and your individual day-to-day actions, are you using effective strategies and tactics? So a common tactic used to affect social change is the protest. And it might come in the form of a sit-in, a march, some sort of statement that, hey, I am against that act or that person who committed an act or that institution. And mainly the basis for that tactic is to try to raise awareness to those who have not been exposed or who do not understand or are unaware that a particular injustice has occurred. This tactic is a carryover and is very much something that we've learned that has been effective, particularly in this country in the 60s and 70s in connection with the civil rights movement to advance social justice and equal rights for African Americans in this country. And another tactic that's usually used in tandem of the protest is the boycott. So the call for people to discontinue their support and or patronage of the bad actor. So these things have been very effective and have brought us very much to where we are today in all the progress that we've experienced between the 60s and the 2000s. But I would actually sort of proffer that currently, and probably in the past decade, the protest and the boycott has not been very effective with respect to advancing social justice. Now, before you get up in arms and declare that I'm being disrespectful to those of the civil rights movement and the greats and the leaders who sacrificed and took bullets, blows, and beatings and shed blood for the likes of me and those in my cohort, please understand I mean no disrespect and never would have in any statement I've ever said before and don't by these statements. But I do think that it's irresponsible for me, my cohort, and those that come after us to not question the success and the effectiveness of certain strategies or certain tactics in order to make sure that we're doing our best job at trying to advance social justice. So, for example, I would think that if we really consider the purpose and the actual strategy, so because there are strategies and there's tactics, and you have the tactic of awareness and the tactic of boycott, and really it's part and parcel of a strategy. And I think a lot of us have lost sight of the strategy, and that's why we don't understand why those tactics aren't as effective today. Ultimately, the best way to get actors who act in the best interest of themselves to the detriment of others is to either make them morally understand that they need to make a change, and or if that does not work, then you have to apply leverage and pressure. And I think we've kind of gotten past the days of where calling people to the carpet morally is enough to make them change their behavior. In a perfect world, in an idealistic world, you point out somebody's bad behavior, you point out the things that they're doing wrong, and they might be shamed by other folks seeing it, and then the curtain being pulled back and then being exposed. That's not quite the case anymore. We're very much a desensitized society A lot of folks don't care about their dirty laundry being out there. To the extent that it doesn't affect their bottom line, they don't care. Which brings me to the conversation of the boycott. So boycotts definitely can be effective, but I think the way that we go about calling for boycotts in this current day is just ineffective. I mean, a general call for a boycott of X person or X company, just generally, is very, very ineffective in that folks don't know exactly all the time exactly what products or services that particular person or institution provides. They don't know how to actually hurt the bottom line such that it will cause the actor to say, hey, look, this is enough pain that I must change my behavior. And so when we talk about a boycott, let's break that down to really what it's ultimately the core of it is about leverage, right? And so that's the ultimate point. I think the best way to make and affect social change in this current state of society really is the application of leverage. I mean, if you are a minority seeking to have fair treatment in the criminal justice system, gone are the days where you just ask and you just say, hey, look, we're being improperly treated, we're being prosecuted and pursued and convicted and sentenced in ways that are disparate from other folks who engage in the same behavior. Gone are the days you just make that statement and things change. You need to apply pressure for those officials who pass legislation that compound those situations, for those judges who mete out unfair treatment and unfair sentencing, for those police officers and police department leadership who run for office and sheriffs. You, instead of just telling them they're treating you wrong, you got to vote those guys out. You know, to the women out there, you're looking for guys who benefit from a society that affords men a ton of more privileges, benefits, pay than women who do the same things. It's not enough just to say, hey, you guys are treating us wrong. You should change the way you're treating us because, you know, it's the right thing to do. Women have to use their leverage. Women have a significant amount of leverage in this society. The majority of the population have a ton of spending control, and ultimately a lot of things move based on spending power. And regardless of your group, the things that have mostly changed and caused things to move in the last decade or so in this country have been a result of the application of leverage, and more specifically financial leverage. And that's where I think a lot of movements should spend the majority of their energy, their strategy, in figuring out what tactics they want to deploy. They should be geared towards how do we apply leverage to affect change. Thank you for joining me on Bacon and Brainwork. If you want to make sure you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe at YouTube, Bacon and Brainwork. And if you got a topic you'd like for me to discuss specifically, tweet me. Just use the hashtag #HashBrownHeadline, and I'll definitely cover it on the show. Have a great day.